This is KUGAN CASSIUS for Rifle TV in association with Macklin's Gym Marbella. We're at the final press conference for March Gone Together ahead of this Saturday night's show live on Sky Sports. Hi.
Hi.
You alright?
Very well. Yourself?
Yeah. So I'm going to quote something you said in an interview.
I know.
Go on, what
It was like, you don't want to see Tony Bellew in an 8 rounder, we might put him on a Texas card.
Against the bum.
Yeah, but I will just justify myself. Callum Johnson pulled off the card a week ago, yeah? Tony was in the gym. I thought, you know what, I've got to put something on. I feel like Tony Bellew as a replacement for Callum Johnson.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, it's unlike me to say something that I regret.
Comes back and bites you on the,
I think I'll be alright there.
But no, it's good he's on the bill. Everyone obviously likes to see Tony Bellew in action.
Yeah. I don't think the show's about Tony Bellew, but...
Add something to the card.
Of course, yeah.
Add something to the card. Let's start with Mr. Josh Warrington. Toughest fight of his career. As you said in the press conference, quite evident to see against Joel Brunker, who, like I said, has only suffered that one defeat against Lee Selby. I think he had a win earlier on in the year, and this is his sort of next big fight after that. So, what Brunker are you expecting?
I'm expecting a fantastic Brunker. I'm so excited about this night. Of course, take the atmosphere away, and we know Josh Warrington's a huge ticket seller. We know the atmosphere in Leeds is off the chain. But is Josh Warrington world level? And I think these are the kind of fights where we're going to get the answers. Not saying Joel Brunker is elite world level, but he's certainly a world level fighter, in my opinion. And I'm nervous for the fight because I think, although I do give Josh the edge in the fight, I think it's a 50-50 fight. Joel's been here for 2 weeks. I know how hard he's trained for the fight. I know what he brings. And when I saw him square off just then, you know the styles of this fight. Josh Warrington's style gels with almost anybody. You know, if you're a defensive fighter, he's going to put a lot of pressure on you. If you're a forward fighter, you know he's going to meet you head on. So when I saw those two together, what I just thought was that these two young whippersnapper featherweights are going to go at it for 12 rounds. And it's going to be an intense fight. It's going to be a frantic fight. And I think it could be a fight of the year contender.
Just going to pick up on some of the...
If it's terrible, right, can you not play this clip back as well?
This goes out now, 2 days before. I'm going to pick on some comments.
But you can't. It's a fight that can't be terrible because of Josh's style and Brunk. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. You hope not.
Someone will make a clip or something.
I'll pick on some comments Josh Warrington said in the press conference, and it's not a view of most, but it's a view of some, that because he's such a huge ticket seller, that sort of, in some ways, outweighs, not in my opinion, but outweighs his talent, which is not the case, in your opinion.
I think he deserves a lot of credit because of what he's achieved. I mean, this is a guy that Steve Wood come to me 2 and a bit years ago and said, I've got this kid, Josh Warrington, really good young fighter. I think he was like 10-0 with no knockouts, or 1 knockout maybe. We put him in against Samir Mamoun in Hull, in Mamoun's backyard, and he won the Commonwealth title. Then he boxed Rendell Monroe. Then he boxed Martin Lindsay, won the British title. Then he boxed Delhi, won the vacant European title. So no one really expected this kind of progression so quickly. But when we got there, you've got to keep going. And I'm pleased with the Tubiaron fight because I say he wasn't motivated, but I think he felt like he was always going to win the fight. And he did 12 rounds and he was sloppy in that fight. I think he punished himself physically and mentally for his performance. I think the fear factor in the Brunker fight is going to drive him on. But in answer to your question, we don't know how good Josh Warrington is. I believe he's a world-class fighter, but he's got to beat world-class opponents, and Brunker is a perfect opponent to see how good Josh Warrington is.
Something was made of Mitchell Smith's first round win over Tubiaron. What does that tell you about any of these fighters, Tubiaron or Warrington or Mitchell Smith? What does it tell you about any of them?
I think that Mitchell Smith's a good young fighter. He's never made the featherweight limit, so he's never boxed below super featherweight. I don't know if he can make featherweight. I don't know how motivated Tubiaron was. It was clearly a good performance because he got him out of there early. Josh looked like he was going to get him out of there early and ended up doing 12 rounds with him. So, again, it's not... I mean, look, I make no secrets of if Josh Warrington boxes well against Joel Brunker and wins in style, I believe the Selby fight should be made next spring, summer. I do, and I know I can make it. So
with Selby obviously linking with Heyman, does that make any difference to the fight whatsoever?
That's a fight that's is the topic of discussion for his development. You know, every conversation I've had with Heyman's team, every conversation I've had with Chris Sanagar's team and Lee Selby is that is a fight they'd be bang up for next summer. Big money fight for both guys. Selby's going to box in October, so he'll get that out of the way. I can still see him having another fight in between, by the way. But that is a fight that if Josh wins in style on Saturday, I believe will happen next year.
And how big is the fight?
I think it fills this place.
When
you think we're doing 10,000, right, for Warrington against Trubira and Warrington against BRUNKER. How many do we do for Selby against Warrington at Ellen Road in a once-in-a-lifetime boxing event? 30?
But would you not have thought that Colin Campbell would have done more than what he
No,
did?
he did 15,000. I think that's, you know.
But when he was first talked about, they were talking about.
No, because you've got to be a realist. I know what fights do. In fact, nearly every fight, we have a sweepstake in the office for ticket sales. I'm barely wrong. Barely wrong. I was right for Hull, right on the money, I think to about 20 tickets. Tell me a fight, I'll tell you how many tickets it will do. And every fight that gets made, that's even not my fights, people think it's a big fight, I know exactly how many tickets they'll end up doing.
Oh, so tell me now, on camera, how many Warrington and Selby
30,000. Here, if it's here.
Okay. Alright, we'll wait and see. Quick words, Martin Murray.
Yeah.
If he gets past Torres, can you make the Abraham fight?
I think so. I was with Keller in Mallorca last week. They're looking for an opponent. I think they're talking a little bit of talks with Hopkins. My plan with Martin Murray is to keep boxing in the UK. If it was Abraham, he'd have to go to Germany. I think he would for Abraham. But I'm excited for Murray on Saturday night because Torres is a decent fight for him. I looked at Torres numerous occasions for Darren Barker when we were looking at eliminators for the IBF. He beat Patrick Majewski, who was like 16-0 when he beat him. And then he went and fought David Lemieux in Canada on the Stevenson Bellew card. It was a war, but then he got smashed, but he got up about 7 times. He's got plenty of heart, he can punch really hard. More importantly, he's here to win. You know, he's got the same team as Perez, they're all back over. And the last 2 opponents for Martin Murray have been fights to go through the motion, people that are there to survive. Now you've got a guy who's going to try and knock you out. And Martin looks fantastic. He's a pleasure to work with, Martin Murray. This is his 3rd fight in 8 weeks. And now, after this one, we're really gearing himself up, getting a nice bit of momentum, profile, performance, settling into the weight, world ranked, nearly ready to go.
Okay. Tony Bellew. How far is he off?
We're just waiting. We've been waiting for the Hernandez-Ramirez fight. It was supposed to happen in July. Now it's going to happen on October the 3rd, and we'll get the winner.
So that's your direct path for him?
Yeah, there's other fights in cricket. I mean, we can't... Although that's the main focus, it would be naive just to not look at any other opportunities. It's a tough division. You know, Glowacki against Huck was a great fight. Shumanov just beat BJ Flores. Ziod, the WBC champion, is a really tough fight. Lebedev's a really tough fight. You know, there's big names in the division. Even the British cruiserweight Afolabi. You know, but he wants a world title shot, and Hernandez-Ramirez winner is the perfect route. So that's where we're going.
Is he out of Hollywood mode?
I think so. He looks well.
No. We were talking about films actually. I was talking about Southpaw, the film.
Yeah, you said I was like 50 Cent in Southpaw.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was kind of a.
Why?
Well, no,
because
what it was.
He turned people over. So what are you
Yeah,
trying to say?
but not. I said certain aspects of 50 Cent's character reminded me of Eddie Hearn.
Like what?
Just, it was kind of an off
Schmarmy
comment, and then Bellew grilled me about it for about 6 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I will grill you about it after. I don't.
Well, it's kind of like, you know, 50 was with the champ, and then the champ lost, and then he was with another champ. That's what it was. That's what it was. That's all it was. Because I've seen you with loads of champs.
Yeah, we've got loads of champs.
You got loads of champs,
Yeah.
so, you know, it's like 1 minute it's like, you know, Frat's my man, and then Brook's my man, and then DeGale's my man, and then blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
You got to be versatile.
Versatile. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. But it won't the colour, the race, or anything to do with
Well,
that. Just so you
probably
know.
not.
Just so you know. Right, you announced yesterday KELL Brook's defence of his IBF crown will be against Diego Chavez. Strange, because like usually the people that give you sort of the normal stick, I didn't see too much of it from them because I think people within boxing know what a good fighter Chavez actually is. But mixed response.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, people that have watched Chavez against Bradley, against Thurman, against Rios, they know it's a proper fight, and it is a proper fight. And I'm sorry, but if you don't think KELL BROOK against Diego Chavez is a proper fight, then you don't know shit about boxing, because this is one tough hombre, and he gave Tim Bradley a great fight. I felt he lost the Bradley fight, but I thought it was close. He was beating Rios in their fight, got disqualified in I think the 9th round because he decided to start nutting him and using his elbow, and he gave Keith Thurman all he could handle. It's quite strange when you read like the American reports about the fight, like Dan Raphael and people like that. They're saying good fight, and then obviously you read like who's Chavez? I mean, I've never heard of him. What's going on here? You know, it's a guy who's ranked number 4 in the IBF, I think 10 in the WBA. He's 8 in the Ring Mag. You know, ahead of people like Danny Garcia, and it's a tough fight, really tough fight.
Obviously, Rios is a bigger name than Chavez.
Yeah, that's.
But
I mean,
Chavez is a
sure, but I think
test.
Rios beats Chavez. Chavez beats Rios, and he was gonna when they fought as well. But Rios is a bigger name, absolutely, 100%. But what do people want? Do people want big names, or do people want good fights? I mean, ideally both. But I could have just made Brook against Shane Moseley if I just wanted a name. But it's terrible. I mean, no disrespect to Shane Moseley, legend, but I can't be making fights like that. This is a legit test for KELL BROOK, and I believe this is his toughest fight of his career.
What, ahead of Sean Porter?
Yes, I do.
I don't know about that.
That's what
Ahead
I believe.
of Sean Porter?
Yeah, I believe that. You will see in this fight, I bet this is a harder fight for Brook than the Sean Porter fight was. You play this one, mate, won't you?
I don't believe it will.
I do.
I don't believe it will.
I do. So the only thing is, right, unless people think KELL BROOK is head and shoulders number 1 in the division, this can't be anything but a tough fight. Because people say to me, someone tweeted me this morning and said, come on, what sort of opponent is this? I'm like, mate, if you watch this kid, do you know how tough Chavez is? He said, yeah, but he drew with Bradley, and Brook's levels above Bradley.
I saw that.
I'm like, Brook's levels above Bradley? What has KELL done other than beating Porter? And this is being critical of KELL BROOK. You know, beat Senchenko, beat Jojo Dan Frankie, hopefully. But Bradley is a brilliant fighter. Bradley's fought all the top boys. And you're saying KELL BROOK is levels above Tim Bradley? I believe Brook Bradley is an absolute humdinger, and I will make that fight. If they both win next, I will make that fight for spring summer. You're going to play this clip back as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
Honestly, I can make that fight. People say, why didn't you make the Bradley fight next? Because the way the dates have come around, October the 24th will be tied in with other fights, and we won't be able to have the money to bring Bradley over. So all of a sudden, we can't. Tim Bradley's a lot of money. But as a standalone, when they're both big enough, when Brook's big enough, I can make Brook Bradley over here on pay-per-view, just them headlining. And I will make that fight. But I'm telling you now, this is a tough fight.
If things go to plan, October 24th, what's the plan for December?
Well, I think December, depending on the type of fight that Brook Chavez is, perhaps you won't see KELL in December. I mean, he will have a mandatory to deal with at some point. And I'm in talks with a few broadcasts in America about...
Current mandatory, Kevin Bizzo?
No mandatory yet.
Well, where's Kevin Bizzo?
Against Lawson. It's a final eliminator at some point later this year. Hello. So he'll have to deal with that at some point. But you know, this is a proper legit fight, and this is a tough fight. This is a fight I believe a lot of other welterweights wouldn't have taken in KELL BROOK's position.
Okay, not mentioning names.
No, what you're referring to, Amir Khan?
No, I was just saying not mentioning
no,
names.
I don't. No, I think he's a puncher. He's tough. He's got a great chin. He comes forward. He's relentless. He's dirty. He's rough.
Okay.
People say, what about Devon Alexander? Are you sure? What about Chris Algieri? Really? I mean, like, this guy has won rounds against Bradley. He's was beating Rios. He caused Thurman a lot of problems. Now you talk about those other guys who consistently lost multiple rounds, every round against top level fighters. Hello.
let's talk about the date. October 24th. Obviously, same date as Tyson Fury, Klitschko. Rumours speculating that it will be some sort of joint thing if Sky are to get the fight. Can you make any comment on this?
That's not really for me to comment, but there's certainly been talks for us and Sky and K2 and Mick Hennessy, and you'll get an announcement soon regarding what's happening on the TV for that date. But the person that I think you really need to ask is this young lady here. So yeah.
So can I give you a scenario?
Go on.
If Sky land Klitschko Fury, we're assuming that will be on pay-per-view. Does that include Brook? How would that work?
Yes.
So that would be a whole
night. 6 till midnight. Humdinger. What do you think?
I think she wants you to sign her daddy fighting the ABA.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, well, you know. I think I quite like this Chavez fight.
It's a really, really good fight. Stylistically, it's a good fight. I think it tells us plenty about KELL BROOK. I know what, of course, like, you know, people say, oh well, you mentioned Hearn and Bradley. Yeah, because they're people we want to fight. But there was plenty of other fighters, you know, Bundu, Van Heerden, who we could have fought much easier. But this is a proper fight. And KELL BROOK wants proper fights, and this is a fight that tells us a lot about KELL BROOK.
What happened to Provodnikov?
There was a lot of talk about that fight. He wouldn't have been ready till more like November, but Provodnikov was definitely in the mix. What do you think about Provodnikov?
What else has happened? No, because I haven't spoken to you since Fielding Smith.
Fielding Smith, Crawler Perez?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That was in the middle of that, wasn't it? Crawler Perez, November 21st, done. And then he'll obviously finally get his chance for the rematch.
Yeah.
Anything on Quigg fighting potentially?
No, I'm seeing him. He's coming to Leeds on Saturday. You know, you got the Denaire fight. They're very keen to make that fight. Again, that's just a case of, you know, these fights. It's tough to bring these big names here without the right model. So we've got to find the model, and if the model works with our broadcaster. So we're in talks with that at the moment. Frampton's still ticking on, nothing much happening. Selby will probably box, well, he will box. There'll be an announcement shortly, mid-October.
In America?
Yeah.
DeGale?
End of November in America. Joshua White for us December the 12th.
Potentially. Potentially.
Well, they've got to win next week. What else can I tell you?
You kind of know every date you're going to do this year now.
Yeah. I might throw in one more, but that's the. I mean, Newcastle is the one date that we're trying to find a slot for. But we're September the 5th Leeds, September the 12th O2, September the 19th Liverpool, Smith Boschero, Buckland Cardle, October the 17th. Well, actually, you got October. That same week will be Selby, Montiel. You got October the 16th will be Cleverly, Fonfara. You got October the 17th will be Eggington against Gavin, Yafai, mate. It's a big week of boxing.
September 6th.
What?
September 6th.
September 6th, Jamie McDonald. Yeah, sorry. Oh, you'll get me in trouble now. September 6th, Jamie McDonald against Kameda. And then after October 17th, you've got October 24th, Brook against Chavez. November 7th, Smith Fielding. November 21st, Crawler against Perez and probably Quigg, hopefully against Denaire. December the 12th, you've got Joshua White, and probably one in between November and the Joshua White fight.
Okay. You announced obviously Dylan White's opponent.
Dominic Gwynn. And then he pulled out 3 or 4 days later.
Yep.
So it's like big. Dylan's like, I know you're trying to make me look bad. I'm like, Dylan, I want you to look like Muhammad Ali on September the 12th. So we've got a list of like 8 guys, and hopefully it'll be close tonight. But it's been a real ball ache. I won't lie. I've had like 4 agents working on it for weeks.
Yeah, you know it's next week, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, and well, listen. Eddie Hearn, thanks for talking to IFL TV. I'll have the pleasure of next week with you in London. James is going to Vegas for Mayweather
Very
Berto.
nice. Very nice.
I've chosen to stay here.
Well, it's a proper show out.
Oh, Mayweather Berto, Groves, Jack.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
A bit under the radar, don't it?
so hope he does it. Do you hope he does it?
Roberto.
No.
George.
George.
Of course. Desperate for George to win that belt.
Okay. Eddie Hearn, listen, thanks for talking to IFL TV, and we'll catch up with you soon. I didn't really mean that thing about 50 Cent. I know you're straight as they come.
Honest guff.